After getting perhaps a little too ahead of myself last week with the high pull-ups, I decided to go for a more reasonable approach and starting with just explosive repetitions without much momentum from the bottom and really trying and concentrate as much power generation as I can master from the bottom up. In here, each rep is going into a dead hang, apart from the last one where I was feeling like the set was ending. But in that situation, I feel like from that position, I need to start by engaging my scapulae into the position where my lats can start really contributing to the lift. And it's probably not the best. So from the second set, what I was doing was restarting from the floor, jumping into it, developing a little momentum, but already putting myself in the situation where I can engage my scapula immediately as I grab the bar. And as soon as the momentum starts swinging back, I only really need to pull with my lats. And I felt like it was giving me a better feeling of control over the last few repetitions in the set. And I also thought about getting as much as possible from the eccentric part, so really lowering myself in as controlled a manner as I could, especially since these are low rep sets, so every little portion of the movement really counts towards getting a decent stimulus in there. So in the end, I did 3 sets of 5 reps. The first set was a bit of an introduction, and since I was the freshest, I kind of felt like I could get away without resetting each repetition and start from the bottom from a dead hang position. But as I got into the second set, I felt like this is probably the most bang for my buck in terms of getting explosive from the bottom and not really fatiguing while having to also make the weaker muscles in the rotator cuff be a major contributor in developing power from the bottoms up. Next up was some pushing work in the form of incline dumbbell presses. Since the previous day, I wasn't really able to get as much pushing work in because I had to combine 2 sessions to make up for the day where I couldn't get to the gym. I also skipped out on dips. And what I thought about in here, even though I remember last week saying that I would be going up in weight for the dumbbells up to 22 kilos, I thought about staying in within 3 sets and going up in rep range. So I was aiming at 12 repetitions for the first set, and I did 11 in the first one, 11 in the second one, and then 10 in the third one. And what I'm thinking about right now, since I am close to go up in weight on the weighted push-ups, is to slightly increase the rep range on the incline dumbbell presses within 10 to 12 repetitions before I go up in weight. So this way I will be able to increase the weight on the weighted push-ups this week. And if next week I can do, let's say, 12, 11, 10 or 12, 12, 10 on the incline dumbbell presses, then the week after that would be probably a good time to go down in sets and up in weight and restart the thing all over again. And as usual, I was getting in some wrist work for my forearms in preparation also for some handstands that I was going to perform after this. And the fact that the previous day I was not really working this directly because it was meant to be part of the workout from 2 days before, it kind of ended up working well because I wasn't really feeling like the pump from the previous day really had my forearms very fatigued. So I was able to get in some direct work and it proved to be okay for my handstand stuff. This first set, I got into a very nice vertical, shoulders well engaged and pushing into the floor. And the first stack was nice and controlled all the way down and back up. In the second one, I was able to get to a good depth, let's call it, with my thighs. They were parallel to the floor. But as I was going back up, I felt like I was a little hasty and unable to control it as I would have liked. This is the second set, and I got a bit of a hasty rep in here as well, but I was able to control that. The second one, my legs were kind of all over the place, so as I was going back up, I wasn't able to maintain enough core bracing and shoulder engagement to really stay up, and my legs ended up pulling me down, but it was good work overall. I'm happy with that. In between, I was also supersetting with the usual sled drags. Not really feeling the greatest in the sole of my right foot, so I'm keeping these in so that I can provide some blood flow in the plant of the right foot. Hopefully, if I keep doing these and not upsetting that part of the foot, I will be able to improve sooner rather than later. But the end of the session was the usual assisted Nordic curls with Bosu ball. In here, the first set, I was noticing there was a bit too much of a hip flexion than I would have liked. In the second one, I was trying to address that while also kind of speeding the reps up a little bit. I'm noticing that if I focus too much on the eccentric, then it chips away at my endurance a bit too quickly, because I would like to get to about 10 repetitions per set to get enough of a blood flow down there. And the concentric part is just as important as the eccentric if I want to develop some power from the bottom up, which is the hardest part. Ciao.